You can't play ball without a field, and nobody maintains a field quite like Smitty, for better or for worse.
Well, god dang it, Smitty, that was brilliant.
Yeah.
The Wizard of Sod!
Hey folks, welcome to Squirrel Tactics. Like, subscribe, check out the Patreon, let's do this. Smitty, full name unknown, but I'm willing to bet his last name is Smith. All the people I've known that were called Smitty, yeah, their last name was Smith, so that's why I guessed that. Voiced by the doc himself, Christopher Lloyd. We don't know much about Smitty other than he was the groundskeeper for Arlen High.
The Arlen Booster Club.
Yeah, there's actually a weird argument between whether the Arlen High mascot is a longhorn or the armadillo, but in Smitty's main appearance, it's the longhorn. Now, we figure out pretty quick that Smitty ain't playing with a full deck. It might be Alzheimer's, it could be dementia. I'm not a doctor, so I'm not gonna make a diagnosis, but yeah, something ain't right with Smitty. We first hear of Smitty in Taking Care of Business, where he's brought up during a Booster Club meeting when they hear that SMU's groundskeeper was available, but Hank defended Smitty.
He's been our groundskeeper as long as I can remember.
Oh, Hank, Smitty's getting up there in years. Heck, a lot of folks think he's just coasting until he gets his pension.
Though some of the others weren't quite convinced that Smitty was still the man for the job.
Thing looks like a goddamn cow!
It does have a cow-like quality.
Yeah.
And of course, Ted Wasana-song has to be Ted Wasana-song and bring up a possible reason for replacing him. Though I can't help but notice how little Ted cares about Smitty, considering he refers to Smitty as this Smitty.
Just supposing we fire this Smitty, what would happen to his pension money? Could it be diverted into, say, a new Nautilus machine?
Hank keeps defending him, and we find out that Smitty has been the groundskeeper for 28 years.
Now hold on, you can't cheat Smitty out of his pension. It's not right. He's been taking good care of that field for 28 years.
And apparently he's been divorced twice in that time, so this was a man that put his blood, sweat, and tears into that field like no one else.
He lost 2 wives to that grass, and now you want to take it away from him? Smitty can do the job, I guarantee it.
So they decide to keep him, and because the boosters kind of put it on Hank, he goes to check on Smitty. Smitty remembers him mostly for his record.
Oh, sure, Hank Hill. You hold Arlen High's single-season Russian record, don't you?
But then we start to see something might not be right with old Smitty.
I ran nearly every foot of it on your turf.
Sure. You can't run on dirt, you know, but you can sleep on it.
And Hank sees it too. He even goes so far as to make sure that Smitty does know what he's doing. Smitty tells him that he does, and Hank seems convinced, but yeah, I'm not.
You bet.
That's exactly what I was hoping to hear, sir.
But come game time, we see that Smitty may not really know what he's doing. Hank, of course, has to take the blame for standing up for Smitty.
What the heck happened to the field? Hank, what did your boy Smitty do to the field?
Speaking of Smitty, where was he when all of this was going down, you might wonder? Because the home team is responsible for field condition, Arlen forfeited the game. Not quite the outcome that folks were expecting.
Crush Rushford.
Thank you, Bobby. You're a good son.
Hank goes to the stadium the next day to see that the grass is in terrible condition, and we see that it's possible that Smitty is living there. Hank wants to know what happened, and Smitty gives something of an explanation.
Sir, with all due respect, what happened?
It's a lot to do. You got the hash marks and the center field marks. What is it? The thing with the tube.
Like I said, something of an explanation. Plus, he has issues in his personal life.
My kid's in rehab again. Tommy, you met him.
I can't help but wonder if the Tommy that's back at rehab used to work for Jimmy Witchard.
Now you owe me, oh yeah, you owe me $52.50, Tommy.
I'm not Tommy. I'm Bobby.
You making fun of me? You're Trey 27. See? 27. Tommy. Go sell some sodas, Tommy.
Maybe he's the Tommy Jimmy kept thinking that Bobby was, and maybe Jimmy's treatment helped lead to Tommy's addiction. Probably not, but hey, it's a theory. Anywho, Smitty remembers something and starts to talk about it, but kind of wanders off, and by wanders off, I mean he falls asleep.
Hey, Hank, that reminds me of a thing from a long time ago. I forget. You'll get a kick.
Seeing that Smitty cannot handle this on his own, the guys decide to help out and secretly get the field ready for the next game under the cover of darkness, and Dale gets to do what Dale loves probably more than lawn care. Hell, let's be honest, Dale probably considers that part of lawn care. Also, because it's in this episode, here's my favorite line from Lucky.
Sometimes the world is cruel to shiny things.
So the guys get the field up to snuff, and I'm guessing the head coach, possibly also the athletic director, checks out the field's quality and he likes what he sees.
I was all set to hand you your head today, Smitty, but it looks like this turf is back on track.
Yeah, track.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Smitty doesn't know where he is or who he's talking to, so the guys step in to make Smitty look better.
Who the heck but you would have thought of tweaking the pH balance to give it a healthy shine?
And this is where Dale bestowed upon Smitty his nickname.
Hooray for Smitty! Or should I say, the Wizard of Sod!
Arlen wins their next home game against Colleen, mostly due to the guys growing the grass thicker on the outside of the hash marks to make it more difficult for Colleen's hotshot running back to get around the corner. And Hank gives credit to Smitty, who again doesn't seem to know what's going on.
Sure looked like Colleen's running back had trouble getting around the end, eh, Smitty?
You bet.
By the way, quick little fun thing here. The teams mention that Arlen plays, Rushford doesn't exist, but Colleen, Duncanville, and Denton are real, and they were all 5A schools at the time, so most likely that means that Arlen was also a 5A school. For those unaware, Texas divides their schools into classifications from 5A all the way down to 6-man, depending on the size of student enrollment. Nowadays, there's a 6A for the biggest schools, but that wasn't created until 2014. So at the time of the episode, Arlen would have been a 5A school. Anywho, the guys help get another win over Duncanville and their hotshot kicker, which is odd because who really worries about the other team's kicker? And no offense to kickers, my high school kicker ended up in the NFL for over a decade, so I've seen a pretty damn good kicker, and I doubt any of our opponents were ever worried about our kicker. But I digress. There's a booster club meeting with Smitty in attendance, and everyone shows their appreciation to Smitty, with them asking him how he does what he does.
So I think to myself, grass will do the trick. So that's what I did.
Wizard, words don't describe.
Smitty has also started to let all this go to his head, which we see after Ted asks him a question.
Your thoughts?
I don't think the wizard's gonna want to give up his secrets that easy.
Run out, blockhead. The wizard's talking here.
Then he gives his answer, and yeah, I know I've said it before, but it has to be said again, something ain't right with Smitty.
People think dandelions are pretty, but they're a weed, you know.
And we get even more of Smitty letting everything go to his head during a radio interview with the sports jock and Chad, with him being pretty disrespectful here.
Don't ask stupid questions. Look who you're talking to here. For Denton, I'm thinking water and sticky pink. They ain't gonna see that coming. The wizard has spoken.
And while the guys are getting the field ready for Denton, Smitty gets dropped off, adding more credence to the whole he lives there thing.
Thanks for the lift, fellas.
It was on our way, Wizard. Anything to help you take us to state.
Smitty then notices that the stadium lights are on, and he ends up catching the guys in the act.
We've only been helping out with some basic...
Basic! I've done this for 30 years, son. I'm the wizard, the ticket to state. You don't tell me, I tell you. Now get off my goddamn grass.
Now, if the guys had been doing all the lawn care, including all of the painting, it really worries me that Smitty hadn't noticed that these things were getting done when he wasn't doing them. I mean, come on now, Smitty, grass doesn't paint itself. He then shares his plan to get the field ready for the next game against Denton, and it does not sound like the best plan.
I'm gonna triple pump her with ammonium nitrate. Make it grow fast. Show you boys how it's done.
Hank argues against this, and Dale tries to stop Smitty, but fails in the most Dale way possible.
The whole field will die.
And with it, the championship. My self-esteem is tied to this season. You must be stopped.
Smitty then offers more details on his plan, which includes rock salt, which, yeah, that sends Hank over the edge.
I've got it. Rock salt.
Rock salt?
And plenty of it.
No!
The guys go back under the cover of darkness again to see what Smitty has done to the field, and it's worse than they had thought.
Look at this. I think he actually nailed the sod down.
They know that the game's going to be called and they're going to have to forfeit, and they're going to lose due to the field condition. But Hank gets an idea from an unlikely source.
God dang it, Lucky.
Yeah, tell me about him. These treads are hell on grass.
So Hank talks to Lucky about his truck and how people won't race him, and Hank pushes the right buttons to get Lucky to do what he wants him to do.
They think I ain't got Jack under the hood.
And, you're just gonna sit here and take that? You ever think that maybe they're the ones who ain't got Jack under the hood?
And what does Hank want him to do? Destroy the football field, because a bad field due to vandalism isn't the school's fault, and it does not result in a forfeit. So Hank figures out a way to save the season and Smitty's pension.
Yeah, well, there's going to be a big bonus to your pension, Smitty. I'll see to it.
That's great.
And the last we see of Smitty, he's rambling about where he's going for his retirement, and he heads off into the sunset.
Now I can finally go to that place. What's it called? The flat one. Oh, I can't wait.
But then Dale decides maybe they should bring him back, but Hank puts an end to that.
There goes the greatest groundskeeper this team will ever see.
Yep.
Yep.
No, let's get him back. Ah!
Except we do see Smitty one more time, and Bois my nose, we see him mowing the grass at the stadium ahead of the state championship rematch, meaning that apparently he didn't retire. So, Smitty was the groundskeeper at Arlen High for at least 29 years. He was divorced twice in that time, and has a son named Tommy who spent some time in rehab. As he's becoming older, it's clear that he's having some cognitive issues, and unfortunately, when he started getting a little fame, it completely went to his head. I mean, did he ever question who was painting the field since it wasn't him? Did he figure he just forgot he did it? Did it ever even cross his mind? I guess we'll never get those answers, but what matters is that in his prime, Smitty was one hell of a groundskeeper.
Yep.
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 Mm-hmm.
Who's gonna dare me to kill that bird?
Yeah.